Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Just Like You show. I am your host, Alexis Christine, and I am a spiritual mindset coach and Reiki master, helping women break through their limiting beliefs, rewire their brain, and manifest the life of their dreams. Just Like You is a podcast for all of the divine souls looking for guidance on their healing and ascension journey. We explore the depths of the universe, hold space for vulnerable conversations about spirituality and self-development, delve into the esoteric things like how to manifest, star seeds, the astral realm, and shed light on taboo topics such as plant medicine and so much more. I am honored that you are here to take this journey with me. I want everyone listening to be able to leave each episode feeling inspired and having learned something tangible to take away into their day-to-day life. If you feel called to work with me or explore this work deeper, please reach out at imalexischristine.com or you can DM me on Instagram at iam.alexischristine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Just Like You show. I'm your host, Alexis Christine. I hope that you guys have all had the most wonderful July ever. I feel like this new moon in Leo energy is just giving me so much life because my ascendant is in Leo. And I don't know, I feel like the normal vibe of like an introspective and kind of in your feelings in your head, etc., that the new moon kind of gives us is just not applying to me right now. I just feel so good. Maybe it's because the sun is shining. Maybe it's because I'm like really just living in pure alignment right now. Like, who knows? But I am feeling so good. So I hope you guys are all having the same type of energy. And I am just so freaking excited for today's finale episode. We are at the finale of season 1. I cannot believe how quickly this has gone by. Like, holy crap. So I'm going to be taking about a month off and then I'll be launching season 2 just to give me some downtime and, get everything kind of organized. So you won't have to wait too long, only a few weeks. But today's episode, I really want to get into because I'm so excited for. I have my friend coming on called Mario, and he is literally just the most inspirational person ever. When you hear his story, we've like talked, right? But I've never heard in depth, like we've never really gone over in depth his whole journey. And I was in tears, not actually in tears, but like on the verge of tears, probably 3 or 4 times during this recording session. And in one of the times I was like about to cry, I was actually speaking, so you can like hear it in my voice. But it's his story is just so powerful, and we go so deep, but still that there's so much to his story and to everything that he's been through that we didn't even get to touch on. So I'm so excited for you guys to hear it and just learn from it that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself first and figure out who you are and live in alignment. And yes, sometimes that means major life changes, shaking things up. It's not always easy for the people around you either, but you just need to regroup and do what's best for you so that the people around you can also be happy and be free. And it's just, it's such a good story. I'm so excited for you guys to listen to it. I'm going to stop rambling now. So without further ado, let's get into the season finale of season 1. I hope you guys enjoy. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Just Like You show. I am your host, Alexis Christine, and today I have my friend with me, Mario Spano, who is a former corporate sleepwalker turned soul-searching entrepreneur, dedicating his time to living a full life aligned with spirit, and he's helping you do the same. Mario offers loving support on your path of self-discovery, healing, and spiritual growth. Welcome, Mario. How are you?
Thank you. Happy to be here. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited for this episode. I feel like it's going to be so good.
Yeah, me too. I'm ready. I feel like we're gonna go deep.
I hope so. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
Do you
good.
wanna start by telling everyone what your sun, moon, and rising is?
Yes, Virgo sun. Well, in the West at least. I'm a Virgo sun, Sag moon, Libra rising.
I love how you like had to say in the West. Like I don't even know the difference between all the different astrologies. So
Well, I just after my Saturn return, I looked at the East and was like, oh, okay, yeah, I resonate with Leo vibes for sure.
okay, wait. So what's the difference?
So basically, the East is shifted 1 month. So I'm a Virgo in the West and a Leo in the East.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would be Aquarius in the East, I guess.
Yeah. Well, depending. It's usually 1 month, but like if you're a cusper, then it can change.
True.
So,
I'm gonna have to Google this. That's super interesting.
yeah.
And what is your human design
Projector.
life path? Do you remember it?
I don't. I have it all written down.
I know there's a 3 in there.
What's yours?
6-2. I feel like yours was it 3-1? Am I imagining this?
Oh, with human design.
Yeah.
Okay, 1-3. So life path
1-3.
numbers are something different. And I was like, I did that once, but I don't know what it is.
I think it's called the same in human design though.
Okay.
Like your
1-3. Investigator, adventurer, or explorer.
I was so close. 3-1-1-3. Damn.
Yeah.
Like just missed it. Okay, so for everyone listening, we are recording this on the Leo new moon on July 28th, which I don't know. I have such a good energy today, such a good vibe. I feel like this new moon in Leo is just bringing me so much like love and warmth and joy. But what are your plans for the new moon? Are you doing any sort of like manifestation rituals or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I have my daily morning ritual that's pretty steady, so that hasn't really changed with the new moon. But I'm really just getting ready for this big trip. As you know, I'm headed over the pond in your area on the 3rd, so less than a week now.
Very exciting. What's your morning routine?
So usually start with yoga and qigong, and then meditate, and prayer and mantras are kind of a part of that. I mean, breath work is a part of that. So it's all very meditative and intentional on coming back to my center and releasing negative energies that aren't serving me, and also focusing on, I guess, bringing the future into the present, because that's what mantras are. It's like, what do you want to be? And that's what your mantras are. It's like where you're going. So yeah,
I love that.
It's all still present focused.
We need to talk about qigong after, because I've actually wanted to get into that for a few years and I haven't found anywhere in London that I feel like resonates with me to learn. So I'm going to pick your brain about that after this.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So Mario has been on quite a journey and kind of done his own like spiritual awakening path over the last few years. So that's what we're going to get into talking about today. So do you want to just start by telling everyone kind of a little bit about yourself, what your background is, where you were raised, that sort of thing, so people can get a better understanding of like who you are?
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm in Ohio right now, seeing family, but I was here until age 29, 30, like a year and a half ago. And yeah, my parents separated when I was 2, and yeah, I guess I always felt like I had a pretty normal childhood until I really started uncovering things. And I mean, I lived in Westerville, Ohio. I'm sure you haven't heard of it, but it was like rated one of the top suburbs in the country a few years in a row, and just a really safe, beautiful place to grow up. And that's kind of what I always saw my childhood as, because that was really like it was like the golden years. I was so my mom and my brother and sister and I all moved in with my grandparents during those years when I was like from 6 or 7 to 12. And my grandpa had a good job. My grandma and grandpa had a great, connection. And it was just a loving environment, big, beautiful house in the suburbs. And it was like everything that I never really had before that, because my mom and dad separated, and there was a lot of tension there, and especially for me, being a very gentle, quiet, sensitive soul. My mom's an Aries and dad's a Capricorn, and my mom is like a lot for me, but also, I love and respect her fire. But my dad was always into fast cars and working in the body shop and stuff. So just like loud, intense environment for me. And then add on top of that, my parents separating when I was 2, and then my mom remarrying and separating when I was like 6 or 7, and that's when we moved in with my grandparents. So that time with my grandparents was always this like euphoric, beautiful time, that like I looked back on it with like this golden light around, until, of course, I really started digging into more later. But yeah, to kind of speed up and just keep it a little more general. I grew up in Westerville and Johnstown, and graduated high school from Johnstown, which is like a little country town, and went to Ohio State, got my undergrad in finance, and then got a corporate job, started flipping houses, and really just working my ass off. Like starting my senior year of high school, it was just intense work ethic. And yeah, that kind of continued through my 20s. I got married at 23, and we were together since middle school. I met my ex-wife in Johnstown, and yeah, we did the whole thing. You know, we bought our first house at, I think I was 22. I was a senior in college. You know, we both had money. We were together for a long time and saved together, and we were very like planned and practical, logical, rational. You know, we were all about that. So bought our first house at 22. We flipped that house in 2 years, bought another one, rented that first one out, and just kept going. My goal was 5 houses in 5 years, and she did it with me. Kind of reluctantly, because it just wasn't her thing. And she, you know, we bought each house and lived in filth for 6 months while we flipped it, but she didn't enjoy that. But she was on board for the bigger goal, which was, you know, success and wealth and whatever, you know, all of that, all those things that people think that they want. So yeah, we did it. We achieved the goal, and we had like $1 million in real estate by, I think I was 28, and we had five or six units.
Wow.
And then yeah, and then, you know, as most people do around age 28 to 30, you get kind of like babies start looking cuter, and you're like, we were married and together since we were 15, so everyone was asking us for years, like, when you get married, and then when you have kids, that whole thing. So I never really was around kids, and I didn't really want kids, honestly, like until later. If I did, I was kind of against it, but there was something in me that wanted to give something back to her for sacrificing so much for us, you know, and flipping the houses and going through that and trusting me. And the first thing I did was I kind of tried to, I guess, energetically like give one to her, because she just went with all the house flips that I kind of led us through. So we bought a big house in the suburbs. It was bigger than the one, you know, in my golden years of childhood with my grandparents. 4-bed, 2.5 bath, just like, you know, the ideal picturesque suburb house. Like we kind of made it, you know, everyone was so proud of us, and but I was miserable there. Like we went from living in an area with all the other 20 somethings, you know, like yo pros, young professionals, running after work and grabbing beers, you know, a few nights a week, whatever, around the corner, and went from that to the suburbs around where like neighbors just weren't connected. I don't know. It was very right wing, which I'm not that political, but just to give you an idea, you know, it was very different. And when she was happy with there, I was most miserable. When I was most happy flipping houses, she was pretty miserable and the most depressed she had ever been, really. So there were some signs for sure that we didn't really see like that. So anyways, the house was kind of the first thing that was like, you know, it's not really my thing, but like I want to do something for her, for us, for her, really. Yeah, that was my main intention. And then with having a child, I kind of wanted to wait till I was 35. She wanted one at 28, and I was 29 when we had our son Oliver. So like clearly I like mended a lot of what I really wanted, you know, and it's no one's fault. It's definitely not her fault. It really just came down to me um, not being in tune with myself and not being connected with my true self. And that was the whole issue. Is I was 30 and I didn't know who I was, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
we had been connected for so long, from 15 to 30, half my life, you know, and where a lot of people find growth and self-discovery in their 20s from dating. Like we didn't have that, and I realized later like how much I really hid from a lot of my insecurities within that relationship, sexual and just confidence, you know, insecurities and stuff. So yeah, the arrival of the love of my life was Oliver, and that was February 8th, 2020. And um, it was a pretty traumatic birth, and it was really the start of this entire journey for me. Like I didn't see it coming. No one really saw it coming, but it was
Wow.
the beginning of the journey.
Wow. And I think a lot of people resonate with what you said about being in a relationship for so long during those like prime formative years and kind of losing yourself in it and not really knowing who you are anymore. I've experienced that, not personally, but with other people I've dated where we've literally had to stop because they were like, I've been in a relationship back to back for so long that I need time to just explore and find myself. And then I've actually seen friends break up from years in a relationship because they had that same issue. So I think that's something that a lot of people will be able to resonate with for sure.
Mhm.
That's a very powerful story. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. So that was mostly background, I guess. I left a few things out, but
I know it's like your ex's privacy too, so I don't want to ask specifically what happened with the traumatic birth, but like how did that affect you and how did that kind of start you on your journey?
essentially it was a long and drawn out and kind of difficult and forced birth. We were induced because our doctor was going on vacation.
Really?
Yeah, so it's
That
a
does
really good
not.
example of like how fucked up our medical system
Yeah,
is.
I was gonna say that does not seem okay, like at all
No,
on any
and
plane.
like yeah, and it was, you know, we had no clue. We were like, oh, it makes sense. It's the due date, so like I guess we'll induce on the due date. And so many people do this too, but like yeah, we had no idea. So obviously he wasn't ready to come out, and um, so after 36 hours of labor and like basically no sleep, and I mean, having a child was always her greatest fear in life, you know. So it was tense enough, and I
Hmm.
feel like in a way I was meant for her so that she could get through that, you know, like to be her strength. And I think she was meant for me so that I had a child, because I may never have had one. I mean, now I don't really know if I want more. I'm pretty doubtful that I do, at least anytime soon.
Hmm.
But anyways, yeah, 36 hours of labor and then C-section was very was a very traumatic one, and where she, yeah, I don't want to go into specifics, but it was a very traumatic start to fatherhood. But that's also what woke me up. And the main thing I guess was, I don't know, not Christopher, Matthew McConaughey says
Hmm.
that there's something about your first child that changes a man. And for me, it was 100% that. I mean, it was like a bomb being dropped in my entire reality. But like, I want to say in the worst way, but it's also in the most beautiful way, because it woke my heart up essentially. You know, I spent 10 years, 10 to 12, 13 years being so intensely focused on achieving and doing and being in that masculine like power, you know, logic, rationale. I remember that being my greatest goal at one point in college. Like, I want to be the most logical, rational person I can be, you know, and I was, but like so much so that I was up here and my heart, like essentially fell asleep, or I fell asleep to that connection, or disconnected from my heart in the process of doing and achieving. So I got completely lost in that. And it was between Oliver's birth and meeting my biological grandfather, who lives in Maui, for the first time, and doing MDMA for the first time. It was like a trifecta that woke my heart up. And when I woke up in my heart, I was like, where the fuck am I? You know, like, how did I get here? I was in this cushy house in the suburbs, like completely unaligned with who I really am and what my heart and my gut want, you know. And that's one thing that you should always do, is listen to your gut, but follow your heart. I know that now, but like I completely lost touch with both of those, and I was all in my head. So that's really kind of the trifecta that woke me up in my heart. And yeah, when I woke up, I was completely lost. And yeah, so that's what woke me up. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that does. That was great. Okay. So when you had this like awakening, like you say, like it woke you up, what was the feeling inside? And then like, what did you do from there? Like, yeah, you have that feeling, but then like, where do you go? Because I feel like that happens to a lot of people, where maybe they're realizing they're living this life that is so unaligned with them, and it's so many things that they just don't want, but then they feel stuck and they don't know how to like maneuver themselves out of it, or even get onto a path where they can achieve what it is that they actually want.
Yeah, that was really, I mean, it caused a mental breakdown when I saw what needed to happen. And it was 8 or 10 weeks after Oliver's birth, and Michelle and I we were both deeply depressed. I had daddy blues. She had postpartum, pretty bad. And like, they say that having children puts magnifying glasses on any issues in your marriage. And it totally did that. And they were big things. And we didn't have a lot of like small issues. We got along, but like the bigger things were like, I had been changing for the last 2 years and really like discovering myself, and meeting my biological grandfather was a part of that. And she wasn't. She was just kind of became more of who she was, or just stayed the same in between that. You know, she was on this path, and I kind of was like changing, so we didn't move together. And yeah, when I woke up in my heart, I was like, I don't know who I am. I'm 30 and I'm hollow, I'm unaligned, I'm lost, and I can't wake up when I'm 70 and be this way, you know. And so yeah, I mean, her and I it all just fell apart faster than we could really hold it together. And so yeah, the mental breakdown came when I was like, this isn't gonna work, you know, like I have to go. The mental breakdown came from knowing how much us separating was gonna hurt her. And I remember I was taking a shower, and the next thing I knew, I was on the floor of the shower, just sobbing, crying. Like my arms were kind of like seizing up for being so dehydrated and crying so much. Because she was, you know, the love of my life. And we'd been together since we were 15, and we talked about dying together and, you know, growing old and all that.
Yeah. It's like literally half your life.
Yeah. So yeah, when I kind of woke up and saw that and saw where it was all going, it just destroyed me. And that's been the hardest part, and it's still the hardest part. Like how much hurt it's caused her, which I've seen since. It's like I got really good advice or saying in Sedona from this lady, which was basically like, sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is leave them, like for their strength. And you know, there were a lot of kind of interdependencies between us. Like I said, we both kind of got together at a young age and just latched on and hid from a lot of growth. So
did you guys at that point, did you just make a choice to separate, or is that when you went to Hawaii?
No, that was a while back. That was like April 2020. We separated. We kind of had this last discussion of like, yeah, this isn't really working. And granted, she was probably kind of just confused, and I was more sure of like, yeah, this really isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So I called the U-Haul and left the next day, and we had a rental property that was vacant. I moved into that. But of course, like the day that I left, I was the bad guy because I left her with the baby, and so it was like it all changed after that. Like at least, and this is how I remember it, So I'm just speaking from my own perspective.
When you had the breakdown in the shower, like, were you someone who cried normally, or was this like a new thing for you to actually be expressing that emotion?
Yeah, I didn't cry very much.
So this was like something big then.
Oh yeah.
So then what kind of helped you along this journey to get to the place where you are now? Like, what were some of the things or modalities that you dove into or you utilized?
Yeah, so the biggest thing really after we separated was just becoming so lost and confused and helpless and full of shame and like complete rock bottom, and that's when people typically look outside of themselves for something greater. So that's what I did, and I started praying and connecting to whatever is greater than me. So it really started this journey of connecting to spirit. Is kind of what essentially what I call it now, or universe,
Mm-hmm.
or God. I mean, it feels better to just say God for some reason. It feels like stronger, even though I'm not a Christian. And I don't believe in the Christian God.
I'll go with what
But
resonates.
yeah, so it started this journey of really exploring religions and looking into energy, tuning in with energy more, tuning in with my intuition more, and really developing this connection with and growing the connection with and the trust in my gut. So yeah, meditation and prayer and a lot of silence. And I think I did the whole van life journey,
Yeah.
and yeah, that helped a lot. I mean, that's an important part of anyone's journey, especially I think for a man, is to separate from his birth family. And it was a really difficult time for me to do it, with Oliver being the age that he was. And, a lot of people didn't understand, but like I could never, I've essentially promised myself that I would never feel that hollow feeling again,
Mm-hmm.
that I did. And to do that, I required a self-discovery journey. I mean, I can't pretend to lift Oliver up and love him and support him and be an example for him when I don't know how to lift and support myself up, and I don't even know who the fuck I am. So that's something that people just don't get, and that requires a lot of compassion to be like, to look at my situation and not just judge it based on your own perspective. And
Well,
that's been
I think that's part of the hard part, is that we want to be able to honor ourselves and what we're feeling, but when our actions affect other people, it's hard to kind of balance of where can I do something that's not going to hurt them as much, but then not also neglect myself, because you don't want to just be putting everything aside that you feel you need just for someone else. It's a very hard balance. So I can understand why that would have been really, really difficult. When you were doing your van tour, was that solo? Like, was it just you, or did you go with people? And how long was
um
it?
yeah, it's mostly solo. I took off April of last year, 21, and I started in Ohio and traveled within 6 months. I traveled, I think 12 or 15,000 miles in 22 states, and I ended up in Hawaii. So,
Love
I
it.
mean, I was dating someone at the time, and I kind of settled down in Boulder for a minute, but other than that, it was mostly solo. And yeah, I mean, that was a journey. It wasn't this like, let's go party stage. It was like, let's go fucking find myself, essentially, which kind of feels silly to say because like it's always within you. So like there's nothing to
Hmm.
really find, but like connecting with myself and connecting with Mother Nature and yeah, really building the foundation for the new me, which included all of those modalities, that you were asking about, and which the big one for me really is connecting with Mother Nature. All of my guidance has come when I'm in nature, backpacking trips and being disconnected from everyone. And that's how you really have to quiet everything around you and tune in with yourself. And that's how you can hear the guidance within, is when you're very quiet and beyond the stage of your ego going crazy because you miss Instagram and texting and TikTok and all that. So yeah, that was the journey for me. It was mostly solo one, connected with nature.
I definitely resonate with that. I think I've always really, really been connected to water. So like even before I was on kind of like the spiritual journey that I'm on now, anytime I felt super stressed or anything, like I would always just go sit by the lake. The town that I grew up in had like a lakefront, and just like sit there, listen to some Ludovico Einaudi, meditate, like just do whatever, because being near the water just calmed me instantly. And then as I've kind of gone on this journey and done a lot more traveling and hiking and all of that, I've realized how nice it is to actually just be in so much green also. And like I go out every day and I earth with the ground and I like reset my nervous system. And I can totally identify with being in nature is just very calming for your soul. And it's like a really good way to just kind of reconnect back to yourself. So I'm so excited that you did that. I really want to do a man journey, but I'm just kind of scared.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's not easy. It's not all glamour, but yeah,
I don't think any of it's glamour. That's why I'm scared.
Well, Instagram makes it look a little glamorous for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But it sounds like you're aware of what it's really like. So what's really entailed.
It's because I climb, and a lot of climbers live the van life. So I see a lot of what it actually is. So
yeah, your Pisces need grounding. That's why I'm good for you, because I can help you ground. As a Pisces, Virgos help. Virgos and Taurus especially, I think, are good for Pisces.
Yeah.
And you help us not be so grounded, and like you help us fly a little bit.
Have I done that yet for you?
Fly and float. Yeah. I mean, just your energy for sure is it's very helpful for me.
Oh, cute. I love that. So, okay. So you ended up in Hawaii and you were there for a year, right? And
roughly,
would you say that when you got there, you were already kind of through like the breakthrough healing aspect of your journey, or was there more that happened there?
I think I mostly was able to finish falling on my face and suffering during van life, because van life was difficult, uprooting my life of 30 years in Columbus and moving for the first time away, but not just moving into a van, It was difficult. And add on top of that, flying back every few weeks to see Oliver to maintain my connection with him made it even more so.
What was the hardest part?
Yeah, the hardest part was leaving Oliver and my family and uprooting into a van. Like I love to travel, so I didn't really like expect that would be so difficult. But I mean, within a couple of weeks, I was pretty deeply depressed and like really questioning the basic goodness within myself.
Wow.
And like that dark and negative, and that was like the first sign that I got was in Mother Nature, and it led me to this. It was like a Saturday night in Austin, and I was on my bike headed back to my hostel, and I like looked over, and it was UT of Austin, which is where I think McConaughey went. It was the book. I was just listening to his book Green Light, so I was like, huh. And I go over there, and there's this group of people, and it's like a religious something, I'm guessing Christianity. I go up to this security guard, and I'm like, what is this? And they're like, it's a ceremony to honor the light within God and the light within all of us.
Yes, I remember you talking about that.
Like, holy shit. Like I'm sitting here the night before, like deeply depressed, questioning whether there's any light within me at all, or if I'm just, like if I am inherently bad. And then I run into the ceremony the next night, and it's like sitting there on the ground crying, like feeling that connection and that guidance. And like, okay, I get it. I hear you.
It's like a powerful moment for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That's so amazing.
Yeah. So most of van life was that, and like kind of developing this connection with my gut through Mother Nature. And then Hawaii was more of the place that I was calling in to really dive in and do the deep inner work. I was essentially manifesting a place where I could work and, an autonomous job, be in nature, work with my hands, but at a balanced rate, not overworking. And I most of all wanted a place with people that were supportive of me doing the inner work. And there's not a better place than Kauai. It's the most like spiritually connected place. I mean, it's like visually and energetically when you're there, it's like you're in a fucking dream. You're literally in a dream. It's ridiculous. Perfect every day. And I don't know, it's hard to explain, but there's so much love there. Like it's one of the wettest places on earth. So there's so much energy. And they also say it's connected to the third eye. So
Interesting.
That's very much self-actualization. And that was the place. And like a good projector, I listened to the call. My buddy had bought a house out there and was he was starting to convert it to a healing center, and said he needed help. And he didn't like tell me at the time. I was in Seattle at the time, and he just texted me and said, "Hey, I need help building stuff." I was like, "All right, I'll come see you. I'll go see my grandpa in Maui and then hop over for a few days." And my plan was to stay 4 days, and I got there and it's like, I'm not leaving. Like I'm canceling I don't know how and what mind I thought 4 days would be a good idea in Kauai.
Yeah, I don't know. Because even now I'm like, 4 days is never enough in a tropical place, ever.
It's never enough for anything. It's not enough time. So the day I got there, I canceled my flight home and never left.
Just a quick side note. So you say that you met your biological grandfather when you were there. Are you adopted?
No, my dad kind of was though. So my dad never met his real father, who is in Hawaii now.
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
Yeah, that was that was a big part of the trifecta, because my dad always thought that his dad, my grandpa Lloyd, was a bad guy. He had just heard bad things his whole life. So like, that's kind of, I don't know, I'm just kind of reflecting like how shitty that would be to think that your parent is a bad person and how much that would reflect on you. And I'm just kind of like going into.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely relate to that, because I went through a phase where I resented my mom for like a long time for some of the things that she did. So it's not an easy journey for sure.
But. No, and that's the big issue with co-parenting. If the parents don't get along and they talk shit about each other, or they have resentment and they share that with the child, which I've heard from my mom for a long time. It's like, I finally told her like a year ago, I was like, can you just not talk about my father in a negative way? Like it's really not helpful for my image of me to think that I came from something that is bad or like whatever. But anyways, he never knew. He never even met. He still hasn't met him in person. He's talked to him on the phone since I met him. But I took a 23andMe test a few years ago, and I found him through Facebook. And
wow,
last anyone I'd heard from him, he was in California. So I linked up with him, and I went out to see him when Michelle was like a couple of months pregnant. And it was life-changing to go from like seeing my father and hearing about what he always thought my grandfather was, to going there and seeing this man who was so heart-centered and so present and loving. Like I sat in a sweat lodge with him, and it was, of course, the first sweat lodge. I didn't know what that was, let alone what the Native American church was. I had a tight fade and a little comb over coming from corporate America. And I sit in the sweat lodge, and every time they close a door, I was just bawling. Because I say it's like the feeling of being in a womb.
Mm-hmm.
And every time they closed the door, like I just felt so much love being there and meeting him and being around this community that he had. I just lost it. Like I couldn't talk. I was just pure love. I never felt so loved in my entire life.
That's
So
amazing.
to go from like my prior view of that to be like, this is me. Like I have this blood in me, you know. And he's
Mm-hmm.
not perfect for sure. Um, he's just a normal dude that has like learned more from Eastern philosophies and traveled more and gone against the herd a little bit. You know, he's definitely a black sheep.
That is such a cool story. I love that you were able to get that feeling of like love and connection from him and the community and everything else. I feel like that's, I mean, maybe I'm just like generalizing, but I feel like for men in general, it's really hard to show or express those emotions and then feel it from other men as well. Like it's very taboo to do that, or for a male in general to be showing emotions and showing vulnerability and anything basically that's quoted as like a weak emotion.
For
So
sure.
I really like, I'm proud of you for doing that and being so open on this podcast and sharing about all of it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm very familiar with all of those things growing up. I mean, I experienced toxic masculinity on both sides growing up, and part of my achiever mindset was to prove my worth. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
those years overworking was to earn love for my father. You know, and mother really, and everyone. I mean, that's how I was kind of conditioned, and that's also a big result of growing up with parents like drug and alcohol addicted parents is trying to prove your worth, trying to be noticed. And you know, there was a lot of lack of emotional availability through that time period. And yeah, being a man in general is really fucking hard, honestly. Like, um, and that's why I feel so called to hold space for other men, because so many men are confused on how to be right now in our society.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, we're told to man up and be tough and all of these other things, but then hold space, and it's like, and hold it down and like carry your whole family. I mean, it's a lot of pressure and suppression, honestly, like is what I kind of felt growing up. Whereas I know now that I'm this deep, intuitive, gentle lover, you know, like I am the lover archetype. But I was never I never embraced that. It took me 30 years to really find that, because I was always told who to be and how, and to be a certain way, to be tough, to be strong, to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all of those things.
Do you feel like if
So,
you had tried to show that side of yourself growing up that it would have been rejected, or did you just not even have the opportunity at all?
um, yeah, I connected with my mom's mom. That was really the only space that I felt safe in, like opening up about emotions. But yeah, no, I would have been judged for, and I'm still judged for that, you know, like my dad called me a pussy and a sissy and a wuss and like all this shit, just
Recently?
because that, no, no, just growing up. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
recently too, but not like that recently, but um yeah, that's just the terminology that he uses. That's how he grew up, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and that's how some of my friends now, it's like now that I've really become aware of a lot of these deeper things, and then I come back here and I have a lot of friends here, but I see more to the picture now, and it's like I see how many men are still just literally wearing this mask, or
Mm-hmm.
like a mascot of their trauma, of with toxic masculinity, especially as men. I mean, we all wear our trauma. That's why I worked 80 hours a week, and you know, worked a full-time job, flipped houses, and got an MBA all at once, because I was literally trying to out achieve my childhood, and I was, you know, adult children of alcoholic. Like that's what we do. We're either overachiever or totally like non-productive member of society. So
Yeah.
I see those things now. And but yeah, to answer your question, my dad still doesn't really know how to talk about emotions. He can't. I mean, he's been an alcoholic since I was born, really. I mean, a functioning alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
So that does something to your emotional capabilities. And then add toxic masculinity and not feeling loved as a kid. And I mean, I don't know his childhood specifically, but like it's evident in how people speak to you, how they were raised, and how they were talked to. If they don't know how to love you, they don't know how to love themselves because they were never got the love that they needed,
Mm-hmm.
growing
And
up.
I,
So it's all like so evident on the surface now.
and I will say one of the things that really like impressed me was when we were having a conversation one time and you were like sending me Ollie's chart and like talking about how you were going to like not change the way that you were raising him, but like interacting with him based off of his needs in human design and astrology. And it just like made me feel so like happy and like warmed my heart so much that you as a parent actually cared to like get to know your child. Oh my God, I literally feel like I'm gonna cry. Got to know your child in that way and like actually put effort into raising them in the way that is best for them and allowing them to just be their authentic self. So I wish there were more people like that out there. So giving me faith in humanity again.
Thank you. I appreciate that reflection.
Yeah, of course.
Just comes from like, I mean, I literally just thought like, damn, what if my parents had known my astrology or known that I was a projector or known that I was an INTJ or an Enneagram 1, they could have been so much more aware. I mean, it's literally, there's philosophies now about aware parenting. So like I was raised pretty much with unaware parenting. Like I can say that's not an official thing, but yeah, so I just thought like the more that I know about Oliver, the better that I can love and support him, which is the case with, coaching and being a friend and a lover and a son and father. Yeah. It's all helpful.
Yeah, it's all looped in. So what would you say made the biggest impact for you on your journey? I know it's a big question.
I'm not good at picking one thing.
I mean, you can do more than one if you want, if they're all like equal level.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I call Oliver my savior, I feel like he saved me from living an empty, kind of unaware life. Yeah, feeling the love from my biological grandfather, when I first met him, really, really did a lot. But also, honestly, like it's all, I don't know, it's all part of it. Like even all the judgment and negativity that I felt and lack of compassion, that's all been such a beautiful lesson for me. And that's really been my biggest takeaway from this entire journey is like all that anyone needs is love and support and compassion and being who they are. So like I used to go around, I mean, I'm a projector and I'm pretty observant. So like I can see a lot of where people are fucking up, with money or with like relationships or whatever. Not saying that I'm perfect, but I just I see a lot. So I used to be like, hey, do this, and it took a while to learn the lesson of no one ever needs to be told anything. They just need support in figuring it out themselves, because that's the most important part, is following your gut, or listening to your gut, following your heart, and incorporating some logic too. But it's all about the balance.
I feel like that's where I'm stuck right now, because I feel like the more self-aware you become, the more you also see it in other people when they're masking or they're projecting. And like, I just have this habit of like, if they're my friends or people that I love and I see it, I'm just like, no, like you need to do this. Like, this will help you. And they're like, you can't help people who don't want to be helped. And it's also not helpful to just like push your opinion onto others. So I feel like that's something that I need to work on, is just to like accept as they are and know that when they're ready is when things will change, because we're all on our own journeys. Hard, man.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Very hard, yeah, especially when you can see it. You're a manifesting generator though?
Just manifester.
Manifester. I feel like so that's just my rule. Doesn't mean it should be everyone's rule. Like some people
Mm.
are the type of people who could get on this table and like preach about whatever they believe in and like persuade people. I'm just not that person. So like some other people are a little louder and maybe articulate enough to like actually go out and convince someone to
Well,
change.
like
But I just for me that's a futile effort.
see, like as a manifester, that's what I'm meant to do. Like I'm meant to lean into my too muchness and like I'm meant to trigger people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard though. I don't know. I'm like now I'm just thinking about it. We're gonna move on from that topic. What would your biggest tips for other people on this journey, not necessarily like the marriage and divorce, but just waking up being like, holy shit, I'm stuck in this life that is nothing that I actually want. How do I get out?
Honestly, the biggest thing I can see for people, especially on this deeper healing journey, deeper spiritual journey, deeper growth journey, is like we all just need to get out into nature more and like be in solitude.
Mm-hmm.
Find the quiet. And I know that's especially hard for extroverts, but that's the most important thing is to there's so much around us keeping us busy and there's so much chaos and distractions and I mean it's mind-boggling,
Well,
dizzying, how easy it is to just live a distracted life. So
this is where like my conspiracy theorist comes in because I really feel like they've built these concrete jungles away from nature specifically to keep us out of our minds and in these toxic cycles and like away from connecting to ourselves because they just want to control us. And I feel like the further, like I've even noticed this in London, the further out of London I move, or even if I just go to an area of London that like has a really big park by it, I feel so much more calm and grounded. And even when I just went home in May for like, I think I was only home for like 2 or 3 weeks, waking up every day and just being able to walk outside with my bare feet in the grass and like lay in the sun made such a difference to my day. And that's just like one little thing that I did. So I think that is such a good tip to just like be in nature and just
for sure.
embrace the solitude.
Yeah, I mean that's the key is following your own guidance. We all have it within us, but like hearing it is the hard part and not living a life asleep on your feet
Mm-hmm.
is the goal. And to do that, you have to get out of this place. You have to get away from people who are telling you who you are or what to do or how to be or what they think, to hear your own voice.
And do you have any advice for people who are like they can hear it and they know what they have to do, but they're just scared to do it or they're scared of the judgment, like how to just step into that power and just do what they need to for themselves?
Yeah, one thing that I do is I focus on my abdomen.
Mm-hmm.
That's your power center. And whenever something is kind of hard or scary and feel I feel like fear or resistance or anxiety, I bring that power up through my heart. So it's kind of a way of working with your power and your heart center at the same time. So I bring the power up through my heart in order to lead with love in that situation. So like it's something that I practice with my mom actually when
Cute.
she's a beautiful and loud Aries who just like naturally it's like debilitating to me. So I'm just like when I'm triggered, that's been my practice is to bring that courage up from your solar plexus through your heart.
I love that. That's so good.
I don't know if that's helpful for people, but that's what I've been doing.
Well, whoever needs it will hear that and resonate. So I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, I hope hearing my journey will help people feel less alone in their pursuit of living in alignment with their truest self. I'm not sure how well I did at explaining and walking through my story, but the book that I'm working on will do a better job of that. So.
Oh, yes. Okay. So plug yourself, plug your book, plug your coaching business.
Mario Flows is my page on Instagram, and that's including my coaching, which is Soulcraft Coaching. And I essentially kind of have a 3-part offering at this moment. One is really supporting people on this journey that we've kind of talked about a lot today. Like a very important part of the hero's journey is when you become lost, completely lost. And how you get out of that stage is with a coach. So that's who I want to be for these people who really, I mean, at any part of your journey, but it's important to smack pretty hard on the concrete and learn how to get up and look around and start aligning with yourself. But it's not all easy from there, you know. And becoming lost is a couple steps down the road from there. So kind of holding space for people on their journey. And then another third really of what I offer is for men specifically, and giving them support in just living life as a man is very difficult, like we talked about. And I think a lot of men are lost, and a lot of men are suffering in silence. I mean, 80% of suicides in the US are men, and a lot less men seek help. So it's like clearly that equates to a lot of men suffering in silence. And so I want to just put that out there. You know, I offer coaching and guidance and support to all people, but there's a special place in my heart as a man with my journey and overcoming a lot of toxicity and all of that. So that's another piece. And then the third piece is I've done a lot of financial wellness coaching in the past, and money and numbers have always been my forte. I've always, you know, I discovered Dave Ramsey at age 17, and I set my retirement wealth goals from then on, and I've been budgeting and being kind of a nerd with money since. So part of what I want to do is, and this is what I saw in Hawaii, it was like there's all these people in the crown, you know, like floating in the crown, and we're all pursuing self-actualization, you know, but I think it's important for people to have a solid foundation, which is really what I've been doing in the last 2 years, is like rebuilding my foundation for the rest of my life. So I want to help people kind of bring them down from the crowns and help them essentially navigate their path in pursuit of their dharma, but in a balanced, practical way with money, because we are in the material world, and that's really my specialty, you know, as a Virgo, and having half of my placements in Earth in my chart is like I'm just good with my hands and good with numbers and everything in the material world. So that's the third part of my offering.
Just to clarify for those who aren't aware, you're referring to the chakra when you say crown, correct? Okay, and then dharma is purpose. So just in case anyone's like listening to that and it's like, what the F is he saying? Just a little clarification.
Yeah, your goal with this podcast is to keep it simple. I know. So thank you for clarifying.
No, like it's not necessarily keep it simple, but just not everyone's aware of some of the terminology that we use. So if there's ever a word that comes up, I like to just clarify so we can teach.
Yeah, I just remember your first intro of this is like, I don't want people to have to be on Google listening to my podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, ideally not. And then tell us about your book, because you're writing a book about your journey, which I think is going to be so inspiring for so many people, especially for men. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you. It's really just sharing my story and sharing my raw truth, including all of my trauma and all of the very vulnerable and terrifying parts and growth parts, really all of it in pursuit of helping others along their journey. You know, I want to get my story out, especially as a man. You know, Justin Baldoni and some other men are coming out and writing more, but it's like, and that's one thing I've noticed is so many women are like more connected, and there's so many more books geared towards women. I mean, I don't know how many books I've listened to where it's like, yeah, girl, you know this and that, and like you gotta like talking about self-love and all this shit, and it's like, this kind of sucks. I mean, I can get the message, but like more men I think will be writing and sharing their journeys, and I want to do that and encourage other people along their path. Like I said, all people, but yeah, that's the goal of the book, just to share my journey and help other people feel less alone. And I'll be sharing. The plan is to do like a video for each chapter after I do it, because the goal isn't to get rich off of this book. It's really been a very healing journey so far, just looking back into all the shit. It's a comprehensive look into all of the trauma of my life.
Yeah.
And it's already been very healing, but yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited to read it.
Yeah. So I'm going to be sharing, like, each chapter. I'll share a video on my Instagram.
Love that. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say to the listeners before I give you your final closing question?
There's a final question.
You've listened to how many episodes? I feel like you should know what it is.
The main things are: get outside, go into nature, get away from people who've been telling you what to do your whole life, to find yourself, and work on having more love and compassion for everyone you know, because that's all anyone ever needs.
Love that. Okay, so closing question. What would you call this chapter of your life? And I feel like you should have a really good answer, because you're literally writing a book about your life. Pressure.
That is a hard one. Because there's so much change right now. So I was kind of in the life falling apart stage, and now I have a solid amount of myself put back together. I think that this next phase, especially traveling through Europe, UK and Holland and Italy and Greece and Spain, and like this whole mission with this next phase is really, it just felt like the most expansive for me. That's what guidance from my gut is like this knowing, that I can't really explain, but it just felt like that was the next phase. So really, it's like, I don't know, I'm thinking of a lot of visuals right now. But it's an expansive phase, I have a nice swift pace about me right now in the journey of life, being that just behind me I fell down pretty hard, and it took me a bit to get up, but now we're cruising, we're jogging pretty good.
I feel like, you said the word expansion a few times. So I feel like expansion or expansive can be the chapter. It doesn't have to be anything like, like if that's the vibe that you're feeling, if that's what you think your theme is, then there you go.
Okay.
I feel like it works. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I feel like this was such a good chat. Like, we went super deep, and I think it'll help a lot of people. So everyone listening, I hope that you got something from it and enjoyed today's episode. If you did like it, as always, please give us a review and share, because it helps spread the word and just get everyone some help on their healing journeys. Have a wonderful day, coming from two people just like you.